Onye sụrụ asụsụ ọmụ na anụ ya sụrụ talikatu akpata onye mmerụ nụọ na bọọlụ ebube nwa nọsịrị ebuli sụrụ atụọ akpata onye na mume onye mmeta wuchie n'ọgbọ ya n'irucha akpa mụ onye mara abalị ọgbara m egwu I hear you. Give me all the praise. Deba, eso kwa melanya diana mi gefeliere memo, gefeliere memado, ebubena mukro, ebubena mukro, ebubena mukro, ebubena mukro. All right, greetings to you once again. I believe you are doing fervently well. As a matter of fact, today happens to be on the 23rd of July 2026. A beautiful Thursday evening, 12 minutes past the hour, 8 p.m. As usual, on Thursdays, Fridays, Tuesdays, and then on Sundays, we normally meet on this very channel to engage ourselves on an intellectual discourse. So if you see me on your screens at this particular juncture, it's not anything new. I've come to share an undiluted word of God with you all. So kindly do well to share this live stream with a lot of people as much as you can, and do well to also subscribe to the channel in case if you haven't, and do well to like this very live stream as well. In case if you have any message, you can as well channel all your messages to the comment section, and I'll be very glad to receive your messages as well. Greetings once again. It sounds good. It sounds good. Okay, with all due respect, please, in case if you have any message, don't hesitate to leave your messages at the comment section for me. Right now, my doors are opening to you all. Just chip in your message. Leave it at the comment section. What kind of a question do you have? Leave it in there. We have a lot of people who are watching us across the global world. Some of them are medical experts, some are lecturers, teachers, some are headmasters, headmistresses, legal luminaries. A lot of people are watching us from all over the world. So don't feel shy. Grab your keypads, type in your message and leave it at the comment section for me. Now let's quickly go to the comment section and read some of the few messages that we've got in there. Now we have some messages from Jennifer. Jennifer, how you doing? I believe you're doing. Mary Magdalene, greetings to you as well. I believe you're doing well. Even is Adunya, Yaofori, Philippine Four, but it's on any teacher. I do not believe you're also doing still by Eva Duwahin. Oh, boy, Suma Rebecca Fossen, how you doing? I believe you're also doing well. First Lady Constance, how you doing? I believe you're also doing well. Mary Gambo Kofi, it sounds wonderful. Stella Champon, Stella, big ups to you. I believe you're also doing well. Roger, Dr. Drew. Who else again? Patrick Ahen, how you doing? I believe you're also doing well. Gifty Ayuli, how you doing? I believe you're also doing well. Bishop Belinda Brown. Also from Mami, it's say Bibi Aboko. Okay. J Waddle. I believe you're also doing well. Roger Jose, Dorin Sawabri, I believe you're doing well. Okay, Joseph Jima. So for Bibi I believe somewhere. Okay. But your question, Fabra and Termina, and Nayan Cherkra. So please, if you have any question, do well to leave it in the comment section for me. Today we're not going to spend much time as how we spent yesterday. Okay, so do well to bring in your questions. Margaret Ousu Secretary. Again, how you doing? I believe you are doing well. Sounds good. Okay, now there is a question coming from our wonderful man of God, Reverend Adakwa, and it reads, please, that what's the spiritual effects on going to church late? Well, you see, Bible says that where one or two are gathered in my name, then I'll be present at that particular moment. Now, we all agree to engage ourselves in one accord, one spirit. So once you become late, most of the times, there are certain blessings that you can't have it. You can't receive it because you come late. And we all agree that most of the spirit that the Holy One sends to visit the churches, anytime they converge, then unite in one accord, they normally come at the early beginning of the services, and they spend not more than 5 to 15 minutes. So most of the times, that's how it works. So you going to church late, it's never advisable. You must make sure to go to church on time, because even if nothing at all, since you know that maybe on Sundays, Saturdays, Tuesdays, Wednesday, I'll be going to church, why not prepare right from the day before the D-Day? So that's how we do things. Me, anytime that I want to go in the presence of the Holy Spirit, what I do most is that if maybe, let's say, I want to go to the Holy One's presence on Friday, I'll start preparing myself on Thursday, you see. So you must understand that We must do everything according to how the Holy One is expected of us. We must do all things in diligence. We must be disciplined. Indiscipline, as I said yesterday, once you are not disciplined, you can never receive anything from the Holy One. Anybody that the Holy One has bestowed a measure of his blessings onto, remind yourself that that person is disciplined in life. Now, even let me chip in this. Anybody that has made it legitimately in life, that person didn't just wake up one day and feel like prospering and then he prospered just like that. He went through a lot of things, and in the process of that, he cultivated the habit of what we call discipline. Every business scattered across the global world that has thrived very well in this end time, I can assure you that when you get closer to the CEO, or what the CEO can tell you is that they have been able to achieve whatever they have achieved, probably because they were all disciplined. So discipline is a major factor in all human aspects. Discipline is what sustains creation. When you go to the highest realm of the Holy One, he never practiced what we call love over there, but he practiced what we call discipline. Discipline is what sustains creation. Okay? Even we humans in a society, when we decide to become indisciplined, most of the times you see that natural disaster will be visiting us just like that, as what just happened in Accra. Accra people, most of them are indisciplined. They throw refuse, they litter around just like that, where they are not supposed to pour refuse. That's where they do it. And all gutters have become choked. A lot of things are going on in Accra. So at least when the Holy One decided to wash things down, now at the 31st of December 2025, I gave a prophecy where I told you that people living in Accra should prepare for a natural disaster. One is heavy flood, and then one is earthquake. So the Accra people, whatever that they went through is as a matter of indiscipline. They are not disciplined. They do things anyhow, just like that. You see, one of the major things is that when you come to African continent, the reason why the entire continent has remained as how it is because of indiscipline. Our leaders are not disciplined. The young ones are also not disciplined. So how can you build a society that the people who lives within that society, they don't have any moral value? Because at the end of the day, if you have moral values, you have that spirit of discipline in you. Anybody that has values in life, you cultivate that spirit of discipline. If you are disciplined, when they give you money to go and construct a road, you not go and squander it just like that. You see, because of the negligence nature, how rebellious we are, and our indisciplined lifestyle, you award a contract to an MP. This is the situation where after receiving the contract, he goes to his district, his constituency, and decides to embezzle the funds that you have channeled to his or her end. If you are disciplined, you will never do that. You see pastors who are indisciplined. You are not disciplined, but you expect the Holy One to bless you. You see traditional leaders who are not disciplined. If you are disciplined, why would you overstep your boundaries by selling a land to two people? You know that you have already sold the land to this. All these mining activities that is going on in our society, I can tell you boldly that some of the chiefs are main key players in this galamsey issues that we are battling with in this country. But why is it like that? It is so because the chief who reside at that particular vicinity is not disciplined. So you see, the major problem of a black man is what we call indiscipline. Even when you go to the Parliament House, there are some MPs over there. There are some legal luminaries. There are some medical experts who are not disciplined in life. You can never build a society where these people are indisciplined. You see, when you go to America, no matter whom you are, once you contravene the law, they will come after you. Nobody is bigger than the law in America. Nobody is bigger than the law in America. When you go to Canada, Germany, Italy, Spain, all these places, they have been able to build the country to that extent where, as a black man, when you travel to their land, you feel comfortable. They have been able to achieve all those things through what we call discipline. When they go to their parliament houses, these white people, they propose laws, they enact it, they pass it into law, they take the law to the end of these judiciary, then they interpret the law to the people. Once they agree and accept it, they pass it into a bill. When it becomes law, everybody will respect that particular law. But in this country, nobody cares. Some of them have taken to themselves that they are the champions and special among specials. You see, they will never obey the law. They don't care. So you see, indiscipline is what is killing us. Indiscipline is what is killing us. So, man of God, you must understand that as a church member or as a member of any organization, you must become disciplined. You must become disciplined. Now you see people in a church during contributions, they will not pay. When something happens to them, they expect you to come and then accompany them, at least to pay homage to them. If you don't do it, they become offended. They'll go out there, say it as how it will favor them, destroy the image of the church, knowing fully well that you are at fault. Why didn't you pay it? Some of them, they will sit down until something happens to them. This is where they will come and pay anything that they are owing. And they expect all the church to come and then accompany or sympathize with him or her. It doesn't work like that. Discipline is what we are missing so much. And even in a place where there is no discipline, God can never perform miracles. Okay, so man of God, with all due respect, that is how it is. Welcome once again. If you have any message, please channel everything to the comment section for me. If you have any question, leave it at the comment section. If you have any question, leave it at the comment section. Okay, on 29th of December 2026, as said by our beloved brother Aaron Bagbo, he says 29th December, all roads leads to Zenith. Of course. Okay. When we get to November, I will tell you what you are to come along with. So just get yourself prepared. And that is it all. J. Waddell says, good evening, Father. Please, my message is, if your heart is after God and your God only, but you still break some acts, you always don't trust yourself enough. Does God still focus, or he has his eyes on you? I don't get your message. I don't get your message, okay? I don't get your message. I don't get your message. If you can rephrase your message for me, I'll be very grateful, okay? Please, if you have any message, leave it in the comment section for me. Okay. Mina, how are you doing? I believe you're doing well. If you have any message, leave it at the comment section for me. Gaba says, what about those of us we are not coming, please, Papa? Hey, God, once you are not coming, it means you are not part. What I'll be giving to those people, you are not part. I'm giving to those people who are coming, okay? My lady, I beg, respect yourself. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Ye two kwan one to be. Na ye ba ye cha kwan so dia o sim pese bi chebi. E ga ba be ye two kwan o so de won to be. Na ye cha kwan so dia. Me de na sake. Enye ye. So let's move on, okay, with all due respect. Oh my goodness. Great man, is it good or biblical for a pastor or prophet to practice astral projection? Well, astral projection, there is no human here on earth that can practice astral projection on your own. Why? Because things doesn't work like that as how it is. Now, let me give you this scenario so that you understand what I'm saying. You know, in the realms of the spirit, this is how it is. There are different kinds of entity who lives in the rest of the spirit. So staying alone and practicing astral projection is like a child who is 2 years old and the child decides to go to the market, knowing fully well that you don't know anything. The probability of the child returning back home is about 0.00%, because in the first place, the child who has taken to itself to pay a visit to the market, you don't know the road that will lead you back, and you don't know what will happen. And as a matter of fact, somebody may capture the child. This is how it works. Now, when you astral project yourself, there are entities. We have certain entities who are principalities, who are powers of darkness, who are rulers of darkness. Some of them are galactical councils. We have the interplanetary principalities. They are all in the spirit realm. So you see, when you are doing the astral projection, where exactly are you projecting your spirit to go? Now, if you have this mindset that I want to project my soul to ascend to heaven, there is no way they will allow you to go to heaven. There are different entities called gatekeepers. There are gatekeepers. Those gatekeepers, they will never allow you to project your soul to pass their dimension and enter into a different realm, because we are living in a place where there's a gate. There's a gate. So once somebody decides to go out of this earthly realm, you must open the gate. Go out there. When you are coming to, you must come through the gate. And there are gatekeepers who have been stationed at this particular point. So where are you projecting your spirit? If care is not taken, an aeon or an archon will capture you. And from that day onwards, you become the bona fide property of that particular entity that has captured you. Apart from that, there are angels who reside in the higher realms. Now, once you project your soul astrally, remind yourself that those divine angels or the holy angels, they will never allow you to bypass them unless you have been given a divine authority. A mandate has been given to you here on earth, and with that, they will give you what we call password. After the password, they will give you a seal, and after a seal, they will give you a holy name. You can never ascend to the zenith of heavens on certain parameters just like that. No. Now let me tell you, when you are a witch or a wizard, and you practice astral projection. I know witches and wizards, they are able to do out of the body travel through the means of astral projection. Now these witches and wizards, they have power protecting them, and even with that, they operate within a given terrain. Once they overstep their boundary, then they have mixed the radar, and once you mix the radar, you can fall into the hand of your predator. So witches and wizards, they don't just get up and fly just like that. Once any witch or any wizard decides to fly, they must fly according to the mandate they have. If they overstep their boundary, they will never return home. That is it. That is it. So if you want to do astral projection, which spirit is supporting you? Because once your soul or your spirit leaves your body, if care is not taken, you might not be able to return back. You might be captured by other entities. So who has given you that mandate? If it is the great one or the holy one who has given you the mandate to astrally project and come to the zenith of heavens, he will deploy messengers to come and pick you from the earth, like how Elijah's own happened, how Enoch's own happened, how other great prophet who ascended to the zenith of heavens, and how other beings like the mystics and those beings who ascended to the higher realm to perceive information. Now it was a spirit entity who came here, granted them the authority, because once you ascend to the Shamayims, the realms that you people have been saying, Abraham, Kukum, the bosom of Abraham, that's the first heaven. There is a being or an entity stationed at the first dimension called a gatekeeper. And that gatekeeper will ask you if indeed you have been warranted to come to that zenith. Where is your password? You don't have a password. Where is your seal? You must have a seal, because in the realms of the spirit, we all have a particular kind of group that we join. Though we were all created by the Holy One, but we have an exceptional groups that we have affiliated our souls to. So if you claim that you were permitted by the higher heavens, then where is your seal? You don't have a seal, you don't have a password, you don't have a holy name. When the Holy One decided to grant Moses access to that dimension, he gave him a password, he gave him a holy name, he gave him a seal to be used to ascend to that dimension. So any being, me, anytime that I want to ascend to that dimension, I have a seal, I have a password. Okay, I have a seal, I have a password. Okay, so I have, in addition, a holy name. Okay, so when you ascend and you say you are serving God, they will laugh at you because they don't know anything called God in heaven. In the highest realm, they don't know anything called God. There is a specific reserved name for the Holy One. Once he gives you that permit, you are sent with that name. That is why when you read the book of Revelation, it is written in there that on the last day, the righteous people, the elect on earth, they must probably bear the name and the seal of the Holy One, or else you can't partake in the heavenly gathering as well. You must have a seal, you must have a name written on your forehead, a seal written on your forehead, a password given to you, which will be used to serve as a key to unlock certain divine realms. You don't just get up and do things just like that. If you follow the things that people are practicing on social media, I'm telling you that you have issues with your creator. So get that. So please, if you have any message, leave it at the comment section right now for me. I'll be very happy to answer you as well. Okay. Yesterday we learned about one of the princes called Semai. I took my time to give you a comprehensive note on Semai. On Semai. Tonight, I'll be taking you through another prince who has also fallen from the grace, but yet still operates, and where this particular prince hails from. Okay, I'm your gatekeeper. OPATAFUOR have become a threshold. I used to be a seeker, but now I'm no more a seeker. I'm a gatekeeper. Umpo and family. Nam dem fan hobe. Ube oh my goodness. Ube swing. Question be a fabro and sana Matthias you. Mimpe akasakasa bi enyumre.
Morning Father, everlasting King. Hey, onye mara maya babara megua. Imaga baga kwebra munisio. Magoro na mbenja gwe. Tuko para mbelilanya. Ina chomwa. Olilanya di sisteme. Olilanya, oh yeah, Olilanya, Olilanya, it's a good Olilanya. The putra there is hope way, oh putra there is hope way. Hey yo. Oh yes, in the presence of the Lord. I will bring my gift with thanksgiving and everybody, I'm baby, I see
Okay, do we have another message? Aaron Bagbo says, "Papa, thank you for the knowledge. Thank you very much for also allowing yourself to be taught once again." Okay, please, should I continue with my teachings, or you have a question in there? Do you have questions in there? It is easy. Sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I feel so happy. The reason why I feel happy is because I know the Great One. I know the Holy One. I know His ways. And He has also given me the mandate to access certain realms which is not permitted for humans to access. And I love it. Okay? I love it. Now let's move on. Now, how can I grow in biblical spiritual discernment? And if it is God's will, receive greater spiritual insight through the Holy Spirit. You must firstly assess yourself that you have at least a measure of the Holy Spirit in your life. And once you don't have it, you must walk to somebody that has the power of the Holy Spirit to impact it for you. Once they impact the power, you can do what is expected of you to do. Now, somebody say in his message, how can I be like you, please? You want to be like me, right? Wow, it sounds good. Well, if you want to be like me, you must get closer to me, because I'm the only one who can teach you the ways and means to navigate to become whom I have become. Okay? So that is it. Eunice. Okay. It sounds good. Now, you said I should continue. Now, with all due respect, now I've already told you that when the Holy One created the universe, one day he sat down to assign portions of the universe to his sons. He first created 70 sons, and then later on he added 2. Now what he did was that he divided the entire universe, the earth, and all the cosmic realm, and then gave it to his 72 sons. Now we call them the 72 princes. At a point, these very princes that he assigned the universe to, for them to take charge and make sure they protect whatever zone they have been placed. At a point, they were taking the glory of El Elyon, the Most High, the Holy One. They took his glory that is supposed to be given to him. They never credited the Holy One. They decided to make themselves gods to the lesser entities, where the lesser ones like humans, animals, and other lesser demons and principalities were bowing to them. So at a point, since they have taken what is not supposed to be taken, something that is supposed to be reserved for the Holy One, these entities have taken it. So in fact, the Holy One decided to punish them by walking them out of his kingdom and replacing them. And since then, since they were given authority to protect, they have forever remained in that particular territory. And since then, since they have been rejected and have lost contact with the Holy One, they go on with their selfish interest. They still perpetrate evil in that particular region where they have been placed, as how the Holy One gave it to them. Now, what happened in the realms of the spirit is that the Holy One assembled all the 72 princes, and he sat in their midst, and he decided to share the earth according to their number. Now, after that, he intentionally, when I say he, I'm talking in respect of the Holy One, he reserved a particular zone, a particular topographical area to be his own. And that place is what we call Israel. When we talk about Israel, we are not talking in respect of the recent Israel that we have. We are talking in respect of the Israel that came through Yaakov, the black people, the entire black race. The Holy One reserved the entire black race unto himself. And then he went ahead to declare that from today henceforth, Jacob, or Yaakov in the correct pronunciation, he has become his portion. Now you get this particular statement in Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 8 downwards. I want to read it from my Bible. You can also cross-check it on your own. Now the reason why I am reading from this particular Bible is because most of the translations that was done by King James, there are some grammatical errors and a lot of things in there. So you can also cross-check things yourself. Now let's read it from Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 8 downwards. And as I read, pay attention to it. It says, when El Elyon divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of men, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Yasharal. For Yahweh's portion is his people. Yaakov is the lot of his inheritance. He found him in a desert land and in the waste howling wilderness. He led him about. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye. As an eagle stirs up her nest, flutters over her young, spreads abroad her wings, takes them, begs them on her wings. So Yahweh alone did lead him, and there was no strange El with him. He made him ride on the high places of the earth, that he might eat the increase of the fields. And he made him to suck honey out of the rock, and oil out of the flinty rock, butter of kine, and milk of sheep, with fat of lambs, and rams of the breed of Bashan, and goats, with the fat of kidneys of wheat. And you did drink the pure blood of the grape. So when you continue to read to at least verse 20, you will understand what happened. This is the exact quotation which confirms what I'm saying, that he shared the nations according to the princes he has created. And at a point, at a particular given jurisdiction where a prince was placed, instead of that prince to give honor and command the people of that region to give praise and honor to the Holy One, these particular princes, they decided to make themselves gods in these zonas. And from that day onwards, the Holy One walked them out of his presence. And since then, he has replaced them. And since those fallen princes had nowhere to go, they still remain in that place where they were originally placed by the Holy One as a clay forth. They are clay forth. They are clay forth. They have become clay forth. Okay, so that is it. I've read the Bible to you. You can also cross-check it in your Bible as well. Now let's move on. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let's read on. Now, yesterday, I told you that every region of this earth, region, not religion, every region of this earth where we practice Christianity and Islamic religion, that particular place is being controlled by the head of the princes who fell. And the head of the princes is called Simai. And Simai is the head of all the princes, the 72 princes who actually fell. So that is it. Now this is it. Listen to me. Now, the other prince, the second among the 72 princes who actually fell from the grace, is called Rahab. Rahab. I believe that you become confused because Rahab sounds like a female's name. Please, with all due respect, Rahab used to be the name originally. It originated from that particular prince who were given the authority to take care of Egypt. Okay, so Rahab is the second among the princes who fell from the grace. And at a point, he was able to manipulate systems and orchestrate a satanic event where he made the entire Israelites to fall from the graves. And then he sent his men to capture them. And then he took the entire Israelite to captivity. Now, the nature of this particular Rahab, he is like a dragon. So, Bible says that in the last days, he will send the great angel Michael to go and capture Rahab and then slice him into pieces and throw him off. Now, Rahab, his original place is the sea, which leads to where Egypt is. So Rahab is there. Now let's see something from the Bible so that it will not look as if I'm acting based on hearsay. Now let's move on. Okay. Now, North Africa, every North African country is being controlled by Rahab. And all the North African country, they have not yet attained to their independence. They are still dependent in the rest of the spirit. So the spirit who rules in the rest of the spirit, who rules in Egypt, control the entire North Africa. So when you go on the Google and you search for all the countries enlisted under North Africa, then all of that place is being controlled by Rahab, who is a principality, one of the princes who were given charge to take care at Egypt's territory. And then he was supposed to teach the entire Egyptians the ways of the Holy One. But he never did that. He rather turned their heart for them to become magicians. Some of them became sorcerers. Some of them were practicing divination. Some of them did a lot of things. And you know that the Holy One doesn't like that. Now let's see something from the scriptures. Isaiah chapter 51. Isaiah chapter 51. Isaiah chapter 51, verse number 9. Isaiah chapter 51, verse number 9. Isaiah chapter 51, verse number 9. With all due respect, please, you can write a quotation at the comment section so that anybody who comes late can grab the quotation as well. So let's move on. Now I am reading my own Isaiah chapter 51, verse 9. It reads, "Awake, awake, put on strength, O arm of the Lord. Awake, as in the ancient days, in the generations of old. Art thou not in that had cut Rahab and wounded the dragon?" I am taking the scripture once again. It reads, Isaiah chapter 51, verse 9. It reads, "Awake, awake, put on strength, O arm of the Lord. Awake, as in the ancient days, in the generations of old. Art thou not it that had cut Rahab and wounded the dragon?" So, which Rahab were they talking about? This Rahab was a principality who looks like a dragon, who inhabits that particular region. He was given the authority to reside in that given jurisdiction so that he takes control at that place. And then he misled those people, turning their heart to idol worship, black magic, white magic, sorcery, witchcraft, wizard practices, and stuff like that. So that is it. Now, when you read the Bible, this particular Rahab, he is a boaster. He is a boaster. He brags a lot. And now one of his major functions is that he is the spirit of oppression and enslavement. Now when you cast your eyes into North Africa, you could see that majority of the people over there, it's like in this modern world where technology is highly inclined, it's like those Africans still, they have not upgraded themselves. They still live in those era where they live in some kind of an enslavement kind of a lifestyle. Those of you who have traveled, you can attest to what I'm saying. Their lifestyle and nature has become so because of this entity called Rahab. Rahab is the spirit of oppression and enslavement. He is the boaster. You see, who claims to control the sea. He entraps souls with material pleasure and false security. So you see, he is the sea monster. Now this is it. Let's see something from Job, the book of Job, chapter 26. If you have your Bible, book of Job, chapter 26. Chapter 26, verse 12. The book of Job, chapter 26, verse 12. Now, this is it. I'm reading it again. Job 26, verse 12. It says, He divided the sea with his power, and by his understanding, he smited through the proud. This particular proud is not mere action that Job was talking about, but he was talking in respect of this particular prince called Rahab. So Rahab is the second in command in all among the 72 princes who fell from the graves, and his nature is like a dragon, and he hails from the sea, but his headquarters is in Egypt, and all the countries and all the lands in what we call North Africa and some part of the Arab worlds is under his control. So you see, when you go to some part of the North Africa, you see that the people living at that place, they don't even have mouth to talk, because once you talk, they will exterminate you. The kind of systems they operate with at that place, in fact, it is not something worth it. And their nature and lifestyle has become so because of the nature of this particular prince called Rahab. Rahab is a principality who has fallen from the graves, and he still controls Egypt. All the gods in Egypt is under Rahab. So you see, as I told you, I'll walk you through all the 72 princes. They are dangerous, very dangerous, and that is the nature. So any human who allows material things to take over their conscience, there are some people, what they know is money. After money, nothing. They don't even have regard for humanity. Those people are being captured by this prince called Rahab, and that is his nature. He captures you, lies to you, deceive you, allow material gains to become deeply knit within your human mind, and at a point you will not have regard for humanity anymore. That is why some politicians, they don't care about humans, because they are being captured by Rahab. They can kill for money. You see a young guy killing the father, killing the mom, going to join a secret society because they need money. You see a young pastor, instead of the pastor to wait unto the Holy One, pray, fast, read the Bible, read the Holy Scriptures. These pastors, they find it difficult. You see them traveling to some parts of the end, and then they go there, fortify themselves, go to acquire some magical powers. They come in and impersonate the character of Christ, infiltrate the Christendom with those black magic. And when they come, you see them performing some weird miracles, leading people astray. And all these things are being influenced by Rahab, because if not material gains, why would a man of God pay homage to a fetish priest or fetish priestess? Why will you go and fortify yourself? Why will you go for charms? Why will you go for black magic? And then you intentionally cover it with Bible and then impersonate the character of Christ, and that is it all. So all these things happen because of material gains. They want to live in a flamboyant lifestyle, a luxurious lifestyle. They want to ride in Bugatti. They want to ride in Maserati. They want to ride in Rolls Royce, G-Wagons, the Cadillac Escalade, the Lincoln Navigators, and the posh cars out there. These so-called men of God, they want to ride in those cars. And because of that, they have deviated. As how when Jesus had fasted, at that particular moment, Semai appeared to Jesus, where he showed him all these Lazarus, and he said that when you bow to me, I'll give you all these things. You see, at that moment, he went to consult Rahab for Rahab to give him all those material things to show the Messiah. But you see, because he carries the spirit of the Holy One, he denied all these things. So majority of these things, we have some traditional leaders, kings and queens, who have prioritized material things to human. They prefer material things to human. They don't care. There are some kings and queens we have in the society. He will kill you for something. So you see, all these things are happening in the society as a result of what we call material possession. You don't want to work for it. It is only in Africa that you work hard, give birth to your own son, your own daughter, and then the son or the daughter wakes up one day, uses the mother or the father for money rituals, just like that. Take your life. They don't care. And all this attitude is being influenced in these corridors as a result of this particular entity called Rahab. You must understand. Philebemfo says, Father, please, is Rahab in any relation to Leviathan? Is different from Rahab. Leviathan is never part of the 72 princes. This spirit that I'm talking about is not any small entity to joke with. Okay, so you must understand that. Please, with all due respect, if you have any message, leave it at the comment section for me right now. Right now. So that is just by the way. Tomorrow we take on to another prince who also fell from the graves, and I think that will be number 3. That will be number 3. That will be number 3. So, with all due respect, I think that's the little that I'll tell you regarding the second among the 72 persons who fell from the graves. If you have any question, you can as well leave it at the comment section for me. I'm using this opportunity to remind you that go on TikTok, because from today onwards, next month, it's going to be difficult for you to be seeing me often on this particular channel. It's going to be only Sundays. Go on TikTok. TikTok, they have certain options that I can literally bring you on board. Go and follow the page. Search for OPATAFUOR TV. And then the OPATAFUOR is spelled OPATAFUOR. Then you add the TV to it. You see a handsome guy of my type as a profile picture. Just follow it, like it, share it, advocate that particular channel to everybody. And once you do that, you're going to be a blessing. When I'm praying, I'll remember you in the prayers. Now take note of this. On the 29th of December 2026, this particular year, it's a major annual gathering. It happened live in Kumasi. Do well to partake in this particular occasion. And once you do that, you're going to be a blessing. It is a place where on that particular day, we're going to do a lot of spiritual exercise. We're going to do things that will protect us spiritually, something that will give us that financial freedom, something that will help us to be healed. Some of you people, you are suffering from diverse forms of chronic ailment, asthma, diabetes, and a lot. Some of you have been having some demonic dreams and stuff like that. Come on that faithful day, and I will take that opportunity to counsel you, to deliver you, to pray for you. You see? And that is it. I am OPATAFUOR. I'm OPATAFUOR, okay? Okay, if you have any message, leave it at the comment section for me. Oh my goodness.
So the mamu wa be bumu eri mu ko bi so OPATAFUOR no yango point na si o se ni papi asosie mu buwe ya lo pasia OPATAFUOR hey adie radidi na prophet OPATAFUOR no okanesi ofra neba hey yeje no grewi Naya Jinemu, Yamanaiko, Prophet OPATAFUOR, Yajinu Grevi, Yandia Naya Jinemu, Yamanaiko, Prophet OPATAFUOR. Ajara didn't Prophet OPATAFUOR, Okanesi, Afraneba, Yajinu Grevi, Naya Jinemu, Yamanaiko, Prophet OPATAFUOR. Yajinu Grevi, Yandia Naya Jinemu, Yamanaiko, Prophet OPATAFUOR. Eba. Obaya Sasima, Ayasano, Yamia no. Nana Basano, Ebetia Gediafuo. Bebuda dia da pain we yisumu akurade apie Yamanaiko Prophet OPATAFUOR Erade asiesie no sound my dentene enu se sheki anase wo sumpa ni chirebe ye no ye be hunu OPATAFUOR nsem enu sigana maye mesimo se munye kuma efisa ye mumuna OPATAFUOR no afiri apa ono na odi erade huhu me won so ono Eba beji eradi mayen free kwaye mo Okana esi ofrana eba Yajino grevi na yajinemu Yamanaiko Prophet OPATAFUOR Yajino grevi yandie na yajinemu Yamanaiko Prophet OPATAFUOR Adi eradi dinam Prophet OPATAFUOR Okana esi ofrana eba Yajino grevi na yajinemu Yamanaiko Prophet OPATAFUOR Yajino grevi yandie na yajinemu Yamanaiko Prophet OPATAFUOR Eba yo Osiudatano na wodu moja tumi akana na fompesu wegu na yana wosa nyare wanso OPATAFUOR ni twedi ampa Onyankopon ni OPATAFUOR ni Yesu Kristo ni OPATAFUOR ni onkonkunu so ni enti se wusai ne so a obeye nchenchen mawai erinya wo hini anampo su sedu ban the global seer asasia no naisia OPATAFUOR ni wayare sanie OPATAFUOR ni uye diesu ni OPATAFUOR ni erade nkwaji enie se wakane bere umpa ejiri pie mu kese wai ayede mausa.
So let's get back to business. As I told you earlier on, you must understand certain things, okay? Eja woman hono, eja yekeja, eja pa. Eya nkwala ni jani biu. Na so mo de be $50,000. And when nkwala eja woman hono, you don't have any idea. Eja pa eja. Mo de omunya be $10,000 wo kofodi ahwa no mi didi sa. Omuniska. Sika some of form. Eja jada. Oh my goodness. The open na me and yes me fa ho. Nya no OPATAFUOR me na utibidia na yema show no. Okay, so it sounds good. I think most of you don't have any questions, so I've given you just 10 minutes. Once it elapses, I'll sign out and then go relax. In fact, it hasn't been easy. I'm busy doing other things, working behind the scenes. OPATAFUOR. Share. OPATAFUOR me nyemre da o. Me se me metimi aka kire se koda. Na ma kire se time say sorry. Wo be sorry no. Na dia me pese me ye o na ma ye o. Se me pese me ye o yi a na ma ye o yi. Me pese me say wa na ma say o. Is a radiation ramen, Diana Miyabi. Benko nipa baako fo adoma kyɛdeɛ nko ahodo bebree na Jacob tumfo de ama me. Kojapia Santi says, Papa, we need update on the building. The building is still in progress. Very soon I'll give you the final output. You know, Opatafuor, I don't promise and fail. I don't promise and fail. The where we've erected that particular architectural masterpieces, that's the exact place that the program will be taking place. So you see, it's still in the pipeline a lot. Now we are done with everything, the graviato, we are done with some painting, we are doing the tiling. And this tiles too, I know maybe on the D-Day, there are some of you who will be taking pictures. So I want to take my time and give it a statement. This is not a house. Please, what I've put out there, it is not a house. It is not a building. It is not a home. I have put in what we call a statement. Oh my goodness. And my statement carries weight. Okay? I have put in a statement. My statement also carries weight. You must understand that. Pure higher levels. Money or nothing. It's a statement. So in your mind, if you think I'm building a house or a home, please, I'm sorry to tell you that this is not a house. I'm not building a house. I'm not building a home. I'm writing a statement. A statement. And I want you to come and read it yourself on the 29th of December 2026. Come and read the statement I've written over there. Come and read it yourself. And when you go home, you explain to the people over there, that is me, Opatafuor. Oh my goodness. So, if you have built a house or a home, mine is not house, mine is not home. It's a statement. It's a statement. Okay, I'm writing a statement. And then I'm here to see I'm a town from Penu, no more gasa, akwe gaga. Menkwa nyankopon ma me yedie to me, ayaresa to me, nsenkyerani to me, ahobambo to me, wasama me nimdie, owie de etachiri kura ne se, wo mama to me a utimi di ba manim wo soro. Ba bi oni pamura no nko abetimi awura ho me ni uni asem. Hey, aduma chedie pani. Aduma chedie pani. First Lady Constance Asari says, I'll build a statement too. Okay, it's good. It's good to also build a statement as well. It's good for you to also build a statement. It's good. Even when you are traveling overseas, they will tell you, I think the embassy you pay visit to, where you go for your visa, they will tell you, go and bring your bank statement. So this is a statement, an architectural masterpiece, a statement that I'm writing. So I want you come on 29th of December 2026, this very year, come and read the statement yourself. When you come, pay attention to everything that has to do with the building, the symbols, the ambience, everything. Just pay attention to it. Oh my goodness. Eja wo me ho fucking eja ye ka young guy eja wo no ho ane so Opatafuor eja wo me ho sino mu nyina. Eja wo me ho fucking eja ye ka ja. But good night, okay? I've not yet eaten. I'm now going to eat. I'm now going to eat. It's 17 minutes past the hour, 9 p.m. So I think since you don't have any question for me, Margaret also said, let me go and eat. Okay? We shall meet God willing, tomorrow, exactly 8 o'clock p.m. Salute you all tonight.